And that's a sign that we are truly supporters of Allah and truly supporters of our beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I'm not going to go in long speeches. Last week I started the introduction to the chapter of Umrah, and we started off with the adab and the etiquette of traveling. And so tonight the focus is on Umrah. So what happened, some were a bit confused in terms of, I spoke about Umrah and Hajj. So what happened, there are certain components is intertwined. So the same conditions and criteria I need for Umrah, the niyat, and exactly the same for Hajj. It's the same. The same rule applies when it comes to the issue of tawaf. Hajj have a tawaf that we just call it tawaf al-ifada or tawaf al-ziyara. And Umrah also have tawaf, the same principles, same component. So when it comes to Hajj, Hajj have 5 principles. When it comes to Umrah have 4. That's the difference between the two. So huwa is exactly the same thing. So I started off with the intentions. So that was last week's lesson. So firstly, we need to understand, Honorable Jama'ah, the difference between a principle, the difference between something that is wajib, something that is fard, something that is sunnah, and something that's recommended. And I think that's very important. When it comes to certain components, and we call it in Arabic, arkans. And I started off last week, a rukn, a singular form, it's a must. I have to do it. Every ibadah have certain principles. I cannot leave it out. I cannot, even if it is, if I have left it out, I cannot substitute it with the payment of a dam. It's not going to work. A rukn I must do. I have to do it. So there are certain rukns, 4 rukns for Umrah, 5 rukns for Hajj, right? And that we have to do. No. And then we have wajibat of Hajj or wajibat of Umrah. So when it comes to wajibat, in our madhab, that's the only place where we make a distinction between something that is wajib and something that is fard in Hajj. Anywhere else, whether it is fasting, whether it is zakah, we will say either it is fard or wajib is both the same. But the only place where there's a difference between the concept wajib and the concept fard is on Hajj. That's anywhere else, fard and wajib are the same. So in Hajj, if I leave out something that is wajib or on Umrah, there are certain wajibat of Umrah. So if I should leave out a wajibat of Umrah, my Umrah will still be valid, but I can substitute it with the payment of a dam. That's the difference between the two. A rukn I cannot substitute. I must do it. If I leave out the wajibat of Hajj, then, for example, if I'm supposed to make my intention, or I'm supposed to, make my intention at the miqat, right? So if I did not make my intention at the miqat, I have traveled beyond the miqat. So because of it's a wajibat, then my umrah will still be valid, but I have to pay the dam. That's the difference between the two. So there's wajibat of umrah, there's arkans of umrah, and there are certain sunnahs of umrah. One sunnah and many sunan, or mustahabbat, something that is recommended. So it's something that's additional. Okay? So if I do it, Allah will reward me. If I don't do it, Allah's not going to punish me. And that's very important. So the first one we spoke about, and that was last week's introduction, we said the first component of a valid, that constitute a valid umrah, I need to make the intention. And we say that is the ihram. But the ihram is not the clothing. And people always perceive the ihram is the clothing. That the ihram is huwa niyat ad-dukhul fi nusuki. That I make the intention to enter in this type of ibadah. Whether it's salah, I make an intention to enter in the ibadah of salah. Whether it's fasting, I make an intention to enter in the ibadah of fasting. Whether it is any other format of ibadah, it's the intention that I make. And because I make the intention for Umrah, Allahumma labbaik, and I said it don't have to be in Arabic. Okay? It don't have to be. Umrah, it's so easy. Nothing is requirement in terms of the Arabic language. Salah, I must say the Takbirat Ihram, it must be in Arabic. I cannot say Allah is the greatest, otherwise Salah is invalid. I must recite the Fatiha in Arabic language. But when it comes to Umrah, we complicate the Umrah so. And we enforce people to learn long du'as and everything they say in Arabic. It's not a must. There's no condition that your Umrah is dependent on the Arabic language. No. I can make the intention in English. So, and that's the first component, the first principle of Umrah, I must make the intention. And that intention to enter in the ibadah, but because of this ibadah, I'm going to intend performing Umrah. So this ibadah requires, if I make this intention, I must wear a certain type of clothing. Right, guys? And that's important. Okay? So I make the intention to enter in this particular ibadah of Umrah. And how do I make this intention? I said you can either say Labbaik Umrah, or I can say, well, Allah, I intend to perform this Umrah for your sake. We spoke about the intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then also I said, it's not a must, but to be safe, add a condition. Right, guys? And that was last week's lesson. Because of anything can happen to us, Allah forbid, it happened. I've seen it happening. So just for a precaution, I add a condition. And the condition is, well, Allah, number one, I make my niyyah. At the moment if I say, Allah malbayk Umrah, well, Allah, if you intend to perform Umrah, automatically, I'm in the ibadah. Because of this ibadah is dependent on my intention. So that if I make this intention, then automatically, then there's certain stuff that becomes haram for me. Because I'm in a state of ihram. Right? It's haram for me to apply perfume. It's haram for me to apply certain oils. It's haram for me to cut my hair because of I have registered, I started this ibadah with the intention. And that intention, I said, Allah malbayk Umrah, Allah malbayk Hajj. Then also put a condition, oh Allah, I put down a condition. If anything should happen to me, then I can exit myself from this ibadah. If I do not make that intention, then to exit from this ibadah is not automatically. And people have this misunderstanding that if something happened, the person do become sick, then it just automatically, I can just release myself. No way, we can't do that. Somebody blocked you, somebody don't allow you to enter the country. It happened to many ulama. They were banned to go to Egypt or to Saudi, sorry ma'am. And so now he made the intention for Umrah, then they block him. No, you are not allowed to enter the country. But you really made this intention by the miqat. So now it's not the automatic point of exit. Khalas, you guys blocked me, I can't enter. I just take off my clothing of ihram and I go home. No. You need to follow a process. And that process sometimes can become very difficult. So that process, you need to slaughter sheep. Now you're at the airport, they block you. How are you going to get the sheep? It's like really problematic. So that's why I said, rather than put a condition down. So if anything should happen, then automatically, because you have added the condition in your intention, then you're allowed to release yourself, take off the ihram, take off your clothing, and you can do whatever you want to do now. Guys understand? And we spoke about that particular intention, and that was last. It's the first principle, that's a rukn, that I have to make the niyyah in entering this ibadah, and connected to this niyyah, I put down a condition. You don't have to say it in Arabic. The Arabic is Allahumma mahalli haythu habastani. Allah, it means that my place where I'm being restricted, where I'm being stopped, so that's my place that I can exit myself. That's the meaning. So the lady can have a haid, and she put down this condition because you don't know. People, females are very anxious. You're really anxious because of you want to do this Umrah to the best of your ability. Right? So we are so anxious, and then the lady finds herself there, she gets a haid. So now you're finding yourself, you're having a haid. Is there a possibility for the lady to perform Umrah while she have a haid? And that brings us to the second condition. The second principle, not condition, principle of Hajj or Umrah, let me first stick to, same rule applies to Umrah, Hajj also, that you have to perform the tawaf. So that's a tawaf, is that when the condition of a valid tawaf, Allah says, وَلْيَطَوَّفُوا بِالْبَيْتِ الْعَتِيقِ. Allah then says in the Quran that we have to make tawaf around the Baytul Atiq. The Baytul Atiq refers here to the Kaaba. So that's the second principle of a valid Umrah. I have to perform tawaf around the Kaaba. and it must be around the Kaaba. I cannot perform tawaf while touching the Kaaba. No ways, I can't. Because Allah said around the Kaaba. If I want to touch the Kaaba, then I must stand and then I can touch it. But I cannot perform the tawaf and still touching the Kaaba. That tawaf will not be valid because Allah said I must make tawaf around the Kaaba, not touching the Kaaba. Okay? So that's the second condition for a valid Umrah. I must make tawaf. So the tawaf have certain conditions for the tawaf to be valid. Otherwise the ibadah will not be accepted. The first condition of your tawaf to be valid, I must be in a state of tahara. Meaning I must be in a state of purification, cleanliness. Meaning I must have wudu. Because the lady must be free of any form of hayd. So if the lady have hayd and a hayd just started, it becomes problematic. And it happened, wallahi it happened. So when I went, so we at the border or the miqat, we made our intention. So now we travel, lady go to the bathroom, she spotted, hayd started. So what happened now? So now we're on our way to Makkah. I already started with my first principle of my Umrah, and that is what? My intention. So now you're in the ibadah. So the second component is, I must make my tawaf, because there are 4 components that constitute a valid Umrah. So for this tawaf to be valid, the lady must be free of hayd. So now the hayd has started. Most of us only stay 7 days in Makkah. So meaning, you're going to stay in a state of hayd for that 7 days. And then what happened now, you're going to travel back. So that means you never got Umrah. And that's so emotional for so many females. Wallahi, they become so anxious and they're worried about the hayd. So is there a possibility that a lady can perform Umrah or the tawaf? Because Rasulullah ﷺ reminds us saying that tawaf is like salah. Tawaf around the Kaaba is like salah. The same rule applies to the salah, that I must have wudu, right? So the tawaf, I must also have wudu. If I don't have wudu, tawaf will not be valid. If a lady have hayd, can she make salah? She can't make salah. So the tawaf is on the same status and level requirement like salah. So that means the lady with the hayd, she cannot perform tawaf. Can't. She will have to wait. She have to stay in that state. So it all depends when she gets the hayd. So if a hayd already had started in Medina, 4 days, and she normally gets 7 days, right? So now 4 days already, so that means how many days left from your hayd? 3 days. So now you're at the miqat in Medina, Bir Ali, you make the intention, Allahumma labayk umrah, and you put down the condition. Now you travel. And because of you made your intention, start your umrah, if you have hayd, does not prevent me of making my intention for umrah. I can make my intention. It only prevents me to perform the tawaf, because the tawaf's requirement, I must be clean. It does not prevent me of making the sa'i, because the sa'i don't require tahara. The sa'i, I don't have to be clean. Cutting up my hair, that's another component of my umrah. I don't have to be in a state of tahara. So the only place where I need to be in a state of tahara is where? The tawaf. So that means, so that female, after she made her intention, being in Makkah, 3 days. So that means 3 days she cannot be in a haram. 3 days she has to stay. You don't have to stay in a hotel. She can be like on the mataf, and she can make a dhikr. But the point here, she will be in a state of what? Ihram. That's my worry. So that means she's going to be in a state for 3 days or for 4 days, being very conscious. Oh, I cannot apply perfume. Oh, my hair. Oh, it's so many. What I utter, what I say. So it becomes very, very challenging for a female to remain in the state of ihram, because she can't perform the second component or the second leg of her umrah because of tahara. Everybody with me? So my advice is, it's not the Shafi'i opinion, it's the opinion of the Hanbali madhab, it's also the opinion of some of the Hanafi madhab, where because of this condition and this difficulty for the female, she can make tawaf in that state. Okay, everybody understand that this is very important for our females. Okay? So if it is that you have entered and you have your hayd, and there's no way that it's a great possibility you're not going to get to Umrah. So in such a state condition, you make intention that I'm adopting the Hanafi madhab or I'm adopting the Hanbali madhab that permits a female under this very difficult situation or condition that she can perform the tawaf and that's done. So at least you get one Umrah. Guys with me? Everybody understand? However, the female need to be very cautious not to pollute the area, the mataf. That's the most sanctified, the most sacred space and place. So you have to, alhamdulillah, we have a lot of stuff that we can use today. So you make sure that you cover yourself properly. Make sure that you're not going to pollute the masjid. Make the tawaf because that's the only place where you require to be in a state of tahara. And after that, perform the sa'i. The sa'i you don't have to perform, you don't need tahara. And you cut your hair and then your umrah is done. So that means that you cannot do another umrah after that again, eh? No. Then you have to wait till you clean. Everybody understand? So the second component, rukn of umrah, is the tawaf. The condition of a valid tawaf, I must be in a state of tahara. Meaning I must have wudu. The lady must be free of hayd. The lady's awrah must be covered. The male's awrah must be covered. I spoke about the awrah last week, and we have this perception that the awrah is, oh, this is awrah here. So if a female performs the tawaf, and this part is open, then the tawaf will not be valid. If the tawaf is not valid, then the umrah is not valid. Why? Because of you have left out a rukn. And that's why I cannot stress this point. Do not leave out rukns. If you leave out a rukn, the ibadah is not in void. If you leave out maybe a wajib, if you leave out a sunnah, the ibadah will still be correct. But do not abandon, do not leave out. Make sure that you do the principles of this ibadah of umrah correct. So the awrah must be covered for the female. The awrah must be covered for the males. Okay? Meaning the navel must be, so I've seen where people wear the ihram, meaning the izar and the rida, or the izar, the bottom part, and they wear it where the navel is exposed. So that means if the guy, the muhrim, performs this umrah and he makes his tawaf and the izar is below the navel, it will not be accepted. Why? Because your awrah is not covered. And so you have wasted your money. Another component of of the tawaf to be valid, you have to start from the Hajar al-Aswad. Okay? So the Hajar al-Aswad, everybody knows the black stone. So we have a beam in the right, on the far right, and the beam that is in line to the Hajar al-Aswad. So if I'm going to start, I start there. 7 rounds. So awrah must be covered, must be in a state of tahara. I must start from the Hajar al-Aswad, right? I must make 7 rounds. I'm not talking about dhikr. This is even if you don't make no dhikr, even if you make no dua, that's not part of the arkans of your umrah. Okay? Sometimes people overemphasize the dhikr and the shouting. That's nothing to do. That's extra. So we try firstly to perfect the principles of the ibadah. It's no use that you focus so much on the dhikr, and which is not something even sunnah, but you do not fulfill the rukn of the ibadah. That's going to be very, very problematic. Okay, guys? So, number one, like I said, I start from the Hajar Aswad. So, from Hajar al-Aswad, making tawaf, and again to Hajar Aswad, that is my first round. And then I go again from Hajar Aswad to Hajar Aswad, and that's my second round. I need to complete 7 rounds. Okay? And once I complete the 7th round, I must be in a state of tahara. Anybody can tell me what happened in my 3rd round? I broke my wudu. Can I continue with my tawaf? No. What must I do? I have to take wudu. Okay? So you go outside, or I've seen the Hujjaj have a spray canister that sprays. And so I've seen this, and they take the canister and they spray on the face. That's not a valid wudu. According to our madhab, the condition of a valid wudu, the water must run. You cannot take the canister and spray. It's not valid. So you can either spray it in your hand, then rub the water on your face, then it will be valid. Spray it in your hand and then rub it on your body, that will be valid, no problem. But I cannot take the canister and spray it on my face and spray it on my arm, that's not going to work. So always try to take, carry a bottle, to go one side, you just take wudu, you come back again. You don't have to start all over again. You continue where you left off. So if you have completed 3 rounds with wudu, your wudu broke, you nullified your wudu, go one side, take wudu, come back again, and you continue where you left off. Yes, Fadal. What's the difference between, yeah, very good point, mashallah. What is Hanafi wudu and what is Shafi wudu? Because some people have this understanding, Hanafi and Shafi wudu. There's no Hanafi. So the difference between us, Allah left certain matters open, and because He said left open for different interpretation, so the scholars differ on that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned 4 components. Allah said, Ya waladina amanu, idha qumtum ila salah, faghsilu wujuhakum. Allah says, if a person stands up preparation for salah, you have to wash your face, and then wa aydiyakum, and your arms, ila al-marafiqi, till the elbows, wamsahu bi ru'usikum, you have to wipe your head, and you have to wash your feet. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned 4 components. So the Hanafi madhab, they say that the faraid of wudu only consists of 4 components because Allah mentioned 4. That's all. And they differ with us in terms of the wiping of the head. So we say minimum requirement of wiping of the head is just to wipe. But we agree it's always better to wipe the whole head. Even though I'm Shafi'i, but I don't wipe few strands of hair, I wipe my whole head because that's afdal, that's better. That's a sunnah of Rasulullah. So we only differ in terms of certain acts, the amount of mask that you have to make. So you take your wudu as per normal, and you wipe your whole head. That's all. So it's not about the Hanafi wudu. The wudu is the wudu. The only difference is that I make taqleed, meaning I adopt the Hanafi madhab, not because of the wudu. I adopt the Hanafi madhab because of the Hanafi's position on touching my wife or touching somebody strange does not nullify my wudu. That's the issue. So the issue is about the touching. We say, whether I take Shafi or Hanafi wudu, doesn't really matter. It's about the touching. So we say, if I touch my wife with feeling, with no feeling, somebody strange. Imagine there's a titi like in squine, a jump titi, no touch jump up, that's fat. Like waste of water. You know, my titi gewisset, mashallah, vibration gekry, vat up das, mashallah, cool af. Right? But no so nog junk cook, ya Allah. So then I have to, so you go, you know, you interact, you buy something, then you touch. So the Shafi'i is very strict. So the interpretation of the wording lam touch, or la mastuma. So the scholars differ in terms of the word touching. Does the word touching refer to touching, just whether it's intentional, unintentional, feeling, no feeling, emotion, no? So the Shafi madhab says, even if it's a dead woman also, and they touch for salama, wudu is nullified. Khalas, because you're touching somebody's strength. So that's very difficult and it's very extreme. Even your own wife, sometimes to recite Quran, you get in a bed, and now you say, don't touch him, but you want to watch the Quran. Now you touch your wife, khalas, abdas is via khabri. So it's become like really sometimes very difficult. So the Shafi madhab says, touching, skin to skin, wudu is nullified. The Hanafi madhab says that even if you touch your wife with feeling, with emotions, and nothing exits from your private part, your wudu is still valid. Okay? So that's the other extreme. And the balance, I take that particular view. The Maliki madhab view is whether if I touch and I give the keys to my wife and there's no vibration, khalas, keys, assalamu alaikum, inna lillahi, go, no problem. However, vibrate the abichi, then khalas, fatik ma abdas. So if there's feelings, there's emotion, and there's some, then I'll take wudu. That's a balance. But if it's just merely touching, you're buying something, touch the old lady, khalas, and you give her keys, there's no feelings. But there's no quite tears from Australia, says white, green eyes, okay, touch her, mashallah, khalas, at least you get something out of the deal, fine. Then you better take up that. So in that case, make taqreed. Because it's going to be very difficult. How are you going to deliberately touch your animal? You're not going to go to haram. Imagine doing haram, touch it, throw that for the Kaaba. Inna lillahi wa inna raji'un. If it's now, you cannot avoid it. And people are females are very anxious because there's a lot of crowd. I mean, I know my wife was very, very anxious. And even sometimes females looked at you, I mean, I'm keeping my hand here, I'm doing my ibadah. So I always try to avoid, if I see there's a lot of females, I don't go in a zahma. I go outside, on the outside. Khalas, I just go with the flow because I don't want to be put in a particular situation where to make it difficult for the female. So in such a case, especially there, it's a good point, make intention, I'm adopting the Hanafi madhab on that particular issue. But you have to understand the masala. What's the masala? The touching. In actual fact, the Hanafi madhab is very strong. The evidence they use that the Rasulullah were praying, the night prayer. And so the Aisha were looking for the Prophet. So Rasulullah were making salah and she was looking, there's no candles that time, and she was searching for the Prophet, touching the Prophet. And she touched the Prophet. If it were to be, the Prophet's wudu is nullified, then the Prophet would have stopped his salah. And the Prophet said, no, you touch me, khalas, I will take wudu. The Prophet didn't. The Prophet continued performing salah. So in terms of that evidence that the Hanafi madhab used, if your wife touch you or you touch your wife, wudu is not nullified, it's strong. There's many other evidence where the Hanafi also used, where Rasulullah gave his wife like a kiss on the forehead. And touching skin to skin, the Prophet still continued and he never renewed his wudu. So in terms of the evidence, the Hanafis, so you make taqleed, you adopt. Taqleed means I have adopt a particular position of that madhab on that issue. The issue of, if I should touch any strange woman, my wudu is not nullified. Everybody understand? So the tawaf, we said 7 times. The intention of the tawaf that I must do it with the niyyah, I'm doing an ibadah. Not with the intention, so Mudathir, he owes me money, he's my student, he borrowed money from me, but he don't pay me. So now he goes on Umrah, I want my money. So I see Mudathir, I want my money, I'm not doing the Umrah. So my niyyah is not for the ibadah, my niyyah is that he owe me money. So that also is important that if I'm going to perform the tawaf, my intention must be to perform that ibadah. Khalas Mashay? So that's the second rukn of the ibadah of Umrah. I must perform the tawaf. The tawaf, awrah must be covered. The tawaf, I must have wudu. Tawaf must be free of hayd. The tawaf, I must do it 7 times. The tawaf, I must do it for the intention of performing this particular ibadah of tawaf. Khalas? Then the third rukn is the sa'i. So what is the sa'i? The sa'i is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Inna safa, faddal. Do you see Nescafe coffee, Nina? Oh, yeah, I see, I can taste, yeah. I'm from Peru, upper class, I drink Nescafe.
So on the Kaaba,
yeah.
there's no certain specific dua.
No, I'm not speaking about du'as here. Just remember, we're focusing on what? The principles. I never mentioned dua. You're going to come to the sunnahs, what is recommended. And always try and strive. We first stick to what Rasulullah done. So if there's certain du'as that I need to make, I make a du'a of Rasulullah first. Guys understand? Then I can make my ayakuta cheese, whatever you want to make du'a cheese, and that's fine. But I first stick to what the Prophet have done. So there's no required du'a that I need to bacha. That's not even if I just look at the Kaaba, marvel at the Kaaba, look, du'as mustajab. Khalas, Allah reward you. There's certain places where Allah removed the barriers and the veils. And amongst where Allah removed the veils, the moment you put your eye on the Kaaba, du'as mustajab. Don't stick to the Arabic and you don't know what you're saying. Yes, you wanted to ask something? Yeah, I'm first have to focus on the principles. You can make one dua, but if you get the principles wrong, your ibadah is wrong. So first the principles of the ibadah. Alas, Doc? Dr. Jamil, Faddal. You can't make tayammum in the presence of water. There's water. So tayammum is not going to be valid because of this water. Okay, you can take tayammum, you can take wudu with zamzam water, that's fine. But there's water, so tayammum is not going to work. Then the third rukn, a must again, the sa'i. What is the sa'i? Allah says, Inna safa wal marwata min sha'airillah. So the Safa and Marwa, so it was like two small mountains, they're called Jabal Qubais, and so there were idols there, prior to Islam. So the companions felt very awkward in order to do this ritual of Umrah and the sa'i. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then subsequently revealed the ayah, Inna Safa is no more about this rituals of the Jahiliyyah, but this is now part of the ibadah. It's part of Inna Safa. Safa, so we start from Safa. So we have to do 7. Not 7, but from Safa to Marwa. So from Safa to Marwa, that is 1. Again, there's no specific dua. I'm not going to focus on the du'as, we can do that later. I just have to do it. So I have to, with the intention of making the sa'i. So if you complete your tawaf, your 7th tawaf, and you will see on the right, there's a big board. It stands Safa, or it stands there Mas'a. So it's in English also. So you will go down, and you can just ask the police, where's the Safa and Marwa, and they will guide you, tell you go down here, and you go down. There's like 3 floors. You can do it the bottom floor, you can do it top floor, but you have to make sure that you start from Safa, and that's very important. So I start from Safa, and I go to Marwa. So that's 1. Coming back again from Marwa to Safa, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again in by Marwa. Now my ibadah of the 3rd rukn of Umrah are done. So I just have to I have to walk in that path, which is called Safa and Marwa, and I actually have to walk, and I have to do it 7 times. That's all that you have to do. Guys with me? So now the next rukn, and that's a 4, and we conclude with the principles of Umrah. It's very easy. So the 4th principle of Umrah, and that's called to make either taqsir or to make halq. Either to shorten my hair or to shave. Okay? So that depends. If you have croissants hair, shave it off. If you have nice hair, don't shave it, cut a few strands. So the point here, so once I exit from I'm going to ask a question. So is it allowed that I can cut my own hair? So it's better to shave. But the requirement is 3 strands of hair. Obviously females, you're not going to lift up your whole burqa on your hair and everybody sees now your hair. That's not going to work. You have to one side. So I'm asking a question. Is it permissible? Because many people ask this question and many people are very, is it allowed? Can I cut my own hair? Can I cut my wife's hair? Can somebody else cut my hair? What do you guys say? Yalla, fadda. Everybody understand the question? Right?
Another question on that, Sheikh. I heard, must you be from those before you can cut someone else's hair?
That's what I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
So you need to follow yourself. You need to release yourself. So now, can you release yourself? Can you release somebody else's? Can somebody else release you? What do you guys say? Yalla, faddal. Floor is open.
Side is very quiet, Sheikh.
Maaf?
Side is very quiet, Sheikh.
Sorry? What you? You say you can't follow yourself. You agree with that? Yes. Maaf, what auntie say? Maaf. So you're saying that you cannot follow yourself and only somebody must follow you and then you can follow your wife. That's what you're saying. Huh? Everybody agree with that? Wallahi, that's wrong. So remember, there's certain time with afdal. Yes, it's afdal. Just remember, I need to exit from this ibadah. How do I exit from this ibadah? I need to cut my hair. I'm not cutting my hair in the tawaf. If I cut, that's a violation. The ibadah don't end there. I cannot cut my hair whilst doing the sa'i. because I'm still busy with the ibadah. I can only cut at the exit. How do I exit? The exit by cutting my hair. So it's absolutely nothing wrong if I cut my own hair. It's absolutely nothing wrong if I'm still in a state of ihram and I cut my wife's hair, and in return my wife cuts my hair. Nothing wrong. Why? Because of the hadith of Rasulullah. Nabi Muhammad says, Rahimallahu, that Allah's blessing, special blessing, extend on the muhalliqeen, meaning people that shave. Those that do usul fiqh, that's an am statement. Am means it's general. So that's inclusive of everybody. Allah didn't say that, Rasulullah didn't say that Allah's blessing is on the one that first need to cut his own or somebody else's hair, then you need to exit. No. It's inclusive of whether you have cut yourself, your own hair, or you cut somebody else's hair, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send down blessings and rahmah on that person. However, it's preferable, it's better. So in our times, when we went many years ago, after the completion of the sa'i, then the barbers were on the side of the road. Right? And we could just go to the barber and they cut our hair, then khalas, that's better. Somebody that's not in a state of ihram to cut our hair. That's ideal. That's better. However, now it's different. It's different. The area of Safa and Marwa, you have to, if you exit, it's like, oh, Allah is very far. You have to walk down. And then on the other side, there's a building. Then you have to go into the building. Then you don't even know what floor is the barber. Then you have to understand the Arabic language. And where's the barber? It's sometimes very problematic because of now you're also anxious. That's ideal. Then go, exit, don't release yourself, go to somebody outside, there's a barber, or get somebody in the road, cut your hair, then you release. He's not in a state of ihram, that's the best. Okay? Second, that best that I can do, when I'm there, I have always carry a small scissor with you. Ask your wife, just cut my hair. Whether my wife is in a state of ihram and I'm in a state of ihram, doesn't matter. Because that's an exit point. I need to exit. So ask my wife, cut my hair, khalas, she's released. Or I'm released. Now cut her hair, then she's released. That's also fine. Can I release myself? Maybe I'm traveling alone. I don't have anybody. I don't know anybody. And I need to exit from my ibadah. Can I cut my own hair? Yes, I can cut my own hair. It's permissible. Guys understand? Khalas, faddal.
What we're going to do is we cut this 3 strands there, and then we go from there to the border to cut down everything.
Yeah, it's fine. No, it's not the problem. The issue is not that. The issue is, can you cut your own hair? Because I've always heard people create so much confusion about the issue of the hair. The ideal, somebody else cut your hair. But if you cut your own hair, at that point, it can only happen at the exit point. It cannot happen in a sa'i. It cannot happen in a tawaf because that's violation. I'm cutting. I'm not allowed to cut. That's a violation. But I need to exit from my ibadah, then I can cut it. Yes, faddal. No. The beard is not part of your hair. The hair, yeah. So it can be front hair, it can be long hair, any part of your hair. It must be your head. Here on the side, on the top, anyway. The best is to shave your whole head. That's what Hafiz Mudathir was asking. Okay, you cut a few strands of it just to release yourself, and later you shave your whole head. No problem. You have fulfilled the sunnah of Rasulullah. But the minimum requirement is 3 strands of hair. That's the minimum requirement. You cannot go less than that. Khalas, Mashai, everybody on the same page? So that gives us the 4 components of our Umrah. We said the niyat, we said the then, spoke about the tawaf, we spoke about the sa'i, and the last one is the cutting of the hair. Yallah, and then, oh, it's auntie. Okay. Khalas, there are 3 places where you can take tayammum. Okay? The first place, in the absence of water, and you 100% sure there's no water, like we at day 0, then I can take tayammum. Another place where I can, if a person is on travel and it's very, very cold, and I don't have a container to warm up the water, like Allahumma salli Amr ibn Aus, that he was on travel and he felt he had a junub, a wet dream, and he never had a container to warm up the water. There was water. And he said, no, I'm not going to, no, if I'm going to wash myself with this cold water, I'm going to die. So he took tayammum. And in actual fact, he went to the Prophet and he led the prayer also as the Imam. And he was in a state of janaba. And the Prophet ﷺ asking Amr ibn As, why would you do that? There's water. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, I reflected on the ayah, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بَأَيْدِيكُمْ لَتَهْلُكَ, where Allah said, do not cause harm on yourselves. That's the possibility because of this cold water. And that's why I took tayammum. And Muhammad ﷺ smiled. Rasulullah said, MashaAllah, that's correct. So also you can take tayammum if the doctor decreed that you cannot use water. So maybe you have some burn or something. So in such a case you can take tayammum, no problem. But you cannot take tayammum if there's water and there's nothing wrong with you. You have to take wudu. Yalla Hafiz. Yeah, we said you just run the blade over your head. Yeah, that's all. Yalla. So that gives us the 4 principles that's non-negotiable of Umrah. Okay? Now we're coming to the wajibat. What is the wajibat, Mashayikh? Everybody? Wajibat of Hajj and Umrah are the same. Meaning, if I leave out the wajib of Hajj or Umrah, my Umrah will still be valid, but I need to pay a penalty. That's the difference between the two. So the wajibat of Umrah is number 1, I need to make my intention at the miqat. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have allocated various miqat places where I make my intention. I can make my niyat even at home. So if I wear the ihram, we're leaving from Cape Town, and I put on my ihram, and I have no clothing on, and I can make my niyat here. No problem. That's prior even reaching the miqat. But it's always better, because the sunnah of Rasulullah, to make the niyyah at the miqat. Right? So our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam allocated for each and every person, a muhrim, a mu'tamir, that come from a different area with the intention of performing Umrah, that you have to make the niyyah at that particular point, allocated by Rasulullah. So our beloved Rasulullah allocated the miqat for people that come from Medina's area. Rasulullah allocated the border miqat for somebody that come from Egypt, somebody that come from China, somebody that come from Yemen. So the one that so many of us, you guys traveling to Makkah first or to Medina first? So some that goes to Medina, then you'll fly over a miqat. But your intention is not to go to Makkah, your intention is to go to Medina. So you're not going to make your intention. So you're going to go to Medina, you stay in Medina, being in Medina, then I have to use the miqat allocated by Rasulullah from Medina. So the miqat that Rasulullah allocated for people of Medina and people that travels via the city of Medina is called Abar Ali, Bir Ali, or Dhul Hulayfa. So these are all different names for the miqat. So you're going to stay in Medina for a few days, then we're going to leave Medina. Some of us travel with the train. So I cannot go from the hotel because you're going to put on your ihram, right guys? So once you put your ihram on and you go to the train station and they want to use the train station as the miqat, no. The miqat is Bir Ali. So first you have to tell the taxi driver, take me to the miqat. And when you're at the miqat in Medina, Bir Ali, then you perform your 2 rakat, which is sunnah. Inshallah, we're going to speak later about the sunnah. Your 2 sunnah salah of ihram, and after completion, then you just say, Allahumma labbaik, I make the intention of Umrah. Khalas. So if you're in Medina, the miqat for Medina is Bir Ali. Another name, Dhul Hulayfa. Khalas? So if somebody comes from Egypt, so you're not allowed to go over the miqat. Any person that goes over, he comes from Medina and he wants to use a different miqat, it's not going to be valid. You have to go back. You have to go back. Any person that did not, if you have traveled and you went over the miqat of Bir Ali in Medina and you don't go back, that's a wajibat of Hajj. You have to, Umrah, you have to pay a penalty. Okay, guys? Then somebody comes from a different area, from Syria, from Egypt, from Morocco. Our beloved Rasulullah allocated another miqat. That miqat is called Juhfa. So any person traveling, some of us go to Egypt first, spend a few days in Egypt, and then from Egypt we go to Makkah. So if you're going to go to Egypt, then you have to use the miqat that our beloved Rasulullah allocated for the people of Egypt, for the people of Morocco, for the people of Syria. So that's the miqat. That miqat is called Juhfa. Yalla, faddal.
Is there a penalty for passing the miqat or making the qiyam after the miqat?
What is,
Is there a penalty for making the intention after? Is the penalty for making the intention after passing the miqat, or is the penalty for passing the miqat?
So you cannot pass the miqat without making the intention. So if somebody did not make an intention and you travel over the miqat, that's problematic. You have to go back to that miqat and you have to make the intention. So if you have traveled over the miqat, you made no intention for Umrah, then you have to pay the penalty. And that's a major penalty, that's the slaughtering of a sheep. If you can return, maybe driving, and you never made the intention, then you go back to the miqat, make your intention, then go over again, no problem. You don't have to pay the dam. However, if you're traveling and you did not go back, and you continue traveling, then that's a violation because you never made the intention. You have to make the intention at the miqat. So that's like you can make it ahead of that. But the cut-off place is the miqat. Any person going beyond the miqat, and he never made his intention for Umrah, that's problematic. You have to pay the penalty. Either you go back and to the miqat, make your intention, then come over, no problem. Or you carry on, so then you have to pay the penalty because you have left out the wajibat of Umrah. And because the wajibat of Umrah, I can substitute it with the penalty. Mashaykh with me? So everyone understand? So, yeah. It's different. So because of that ibadah, so the one brother, he made the intention, but he never had the clothing. That's a different violation. Okay? So imagine the guy, he's got clothing on, he don't have the ihram, meaning the clothing for Umrah, and his niyat was to perform Umrah, so he's in the plane, he travels and he goes beyond the miqat, never making intention, and also not wearing the clothing. So that's two penalties. So the one penalty, he crossed over the miqat without making the niyat, and the second penalty is not wearing the appropriate clothing for males. So there's one brother, like I said, that he had the intention, but his ihram, the clothing, were booked straight to Makkah. So we want Addis Ababa, so now we have no ihram, either for males. So I still then said to him, you still make the intention. So he made his intention, but you have to pay a penalty, but it's not a major penalty. That penalty is a choice. You can just fast 3 days, khalas. Or you can just feed 6 people, khalas. Or if you say, okay, fine, I'm going to slaughter a sheep. So you have a choice from 3. So there are certain penalties that you have no choice. You have to pay. Inshallah, we're still going to do the chapter on penalties also. With me? So we have, for Madina's people, what's a miqat? Bir Ali. People coming from Egypt, Syria, Morocco, Juhfa. People coming from Yemen side, another miqat. Some of the students study in Yemen. So now from Yemen, they want to go for Umrah. So now via Yemen, you have to use a different miqat. And that miqat is called Yalamlam. Yalamlam, people coming from Yemen. Then we have another miqat, Qarn. So people that come from the east of Mecca via Yemen, they use that miqat. It's called Qarn. Qarn. Then we have another miqat, people that come from Iraq, it's called Irq. Okay? So these are the miqat allocated for somebody that performs a Umrah. Those that perform Hajj are different because we're already in Makkah. So we make our niyyah from Mawtaw. Guys get it? But for Umrah, because we're coming in, so we make the niyyah depending from what area we come. Our Rasulullah allocated for that area that a particular miqat. Then also mashayikh, also part of the wajibat, that I need to wear appropriate clothing. Okay, before I come to the clothing, is it part of the wajibat? Because in Hajj, we have the tawaf al-wida. What is the tawaf al-wida? The farewell tawaf. So I'm bidding farewell to Makkah. So is it a requirement? If I perform Umrah, do I need to perform the tawaf al-wida for Umrah? Is tawaf al-wida also part of the wajibat? Because in Hajj, it's part of the wajibat of Hajj, the tawaf al-wida. Does it mean, if I do a tawaf, does it also form part of the wajibat of Umrah also? Because there's also some people have this understanding. They say, no, I must do a tawaf al-wida if I do a Umrah. What do you guys say?
So when you leave or when you're finishing?
Yeah, when you leave. So I'm leaving Makkah because I'm doing the wajibat, right?
But then it's not part of the Hajj. I would say it's like a sunnah.
You will say it's like a sunnah.
When
So,
you're
it's,
leaving Makkah.
so is it, if you say sunnah, if I don't do it, I'm not going to be punished. If you say it's wajib, meaning if I leave it out, I have to pay a penalty. So the scholars, the Hanafi or the Maliki madhab says, Tawaful Wida is exclusively only for Hajj and not for Umrah. Okay? So that means it's not a wajib to perform it. I can leave it out. So some says that is recommended for me to do it. But it's not a must. If I want to do it, I can do it. If I leave it out, khalas. It has no effect on my Umrah. And also, I don't have to pay a penalty because it does not constitute part of the wajibat of Umrah. It's part of the wajibat of Hajj, but it's not part of the wajibat of Umrah. Okay? If I want to do it, I can do it. If I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it. Khalas, Bashai? Then now coming to the clothing, or there are certain activities I need to avoid if I'm in the state of ihram. And this is also very important. So certain components, it focuses on the clothing, and then you have a category that focuses on perfumes. Then you also have certain category that focuses on the oils, and you also have certain component that focus on what do I say, vulgar language. So muharramat, if you're in a state of ihram, it's haram. First, there are certain matters exclusively only for males. Firstly, for males, you're not allowed to wear encircled clothing. Because for any male, once I've made my intentions for Umrah, there are specific clothing type that Allah has allocated via our beloved Rasulullah for males. And the clothing types exclusively only for males is called the izar and the rida. The izar is the bottom part and the rida is the top part. If I'm in a state of ihram, or if I made my intention for Umrah, I'm not allowed to wear any clothing. Okay? I'm not allowed to wear underpants. I had an issue with one particular brother, he had the issue, he had a dripping problem. So he always drips. Allah protect us from, sometimes females also have discharges. So this is something also part of, norm of people. So he had the issue, he constantly drips. And then he wore a underpants whilst performing Umrah, and because somebody advised him that he's allowed to wear the underpants. I said to him, no, you're not allowed. If you're going to wear it, because that's a type of clothing. So even if it is that you have a valid reason, you're not allowed to wear clothing. If you want to wear the clothing, the underpants, you have to pay the penalty. So the penalty in such a case is that you have to either fast 3 days, or you have to feed 6 people, or you have to slaughter a sheep. Okay? But you cannot wear underpants and not pay the penalty. You have to pay the penalty. Are you with me? So there are specific, you're not allowed to wrap clothing around you. So we have an abaya and it's cold. So now you're performing Umrah in the winter. It's very, very cold. And you're wrapping the abaya, you throw the abaya for males over you. That's a violation. You have to pay a penalty. If you throw it over you, penalty. If you lay down, and you're in a bus, we're traveling from Medina, I have my ihram on, my clothing, So now I'm getting cold. I'm taking a blanket, or I'm taking a baya, and I throw it over me. That's fine. But I cannot throw it over me. It's almost like I'm wearing it and putting my hands in the sleeve. That's going to be problematic. Then I have to pay a penalty. I can throw it, fine, but I cannot wear it.
So you can't pick your ihram over your head.
Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un, penalty.
No, I didn't do it, but
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Yeah, I know. No, you can't. No, what you're saying, I've seen, wallahi, and people are so unmindful. And it was hard, so now the guy takes his ihram and he covers his head, penalty. And that's the problem that I have. Once you're in that state, the ibadah is like 4 components. But you have to be so conscious once you're in that state. That's my concern that I have. To be in that state, you have to adhere to certain principles of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you're not allowed to wear, we're going to come to the covering of the head, the clothing, wear something. Also, we have the bottom part and the top part. We have seen many males make this mistake. When it comes to the top part, they pin it, violation. So if this the top part, which is called the izar, the izar, the rida. So the rida, then I see the guy takes a safety pin and violation. You take, what's his name, attach it with something, violation. It's not allowed. Because of here, you have to pay a penalty. I'm not talking about females, only for the males. It's a male question.
I've seen that some people selling the arms for whales with Velcro.
Velcro is fine because of it's not stitching. So the Velcro on, that's okay. But technically, we're not supposed to wear. You're not even allowed to tie. So if you have the 2 pieces and you're tying it, I've seen that also. The guy takes and he ties one side to the other side, penalty. Penalty. Because that's something that you have to throw over you. And that's it. So you're not allowed to tie it. Yes? I'm not talking, I'm going to come to the bottom part. So the top part is called the rida. So the rida, no tying, no safety pins, no buttons, no string attached, nothing. The izar is something different. So the izar that you can, because you have to keep it up, then you can wear a belt. So you wrap it, or you turn it, and you have a belt on, no problem, that's fine, only the izar. But other than that fancy stuff and put some, or if you're going to wear the izar, and you have a lot of buttons also to keep it like a skirt, that's problematic. That's a violation.
So, I'm just thinking out of you, because when you make salah, already it's wrong. Sometimes, it's very difficult to manage. But if you go down,
Why is it very difficult?
Like if it's, I don't know, I just find it when you make salah, and when you go to the queue, and sometimes you,
What is your aura? So if you're, so a certain part of your chest is open, then it's no problem. Okay, I'm not going to do it deliberately. So if you're wrapping it, then definitely some side is going to be open, but that's nothing. It's nothing wrong because of that's not your aura. So even tonight, make salah, isha, was a 6-pack for yourself. Allah Akbar, did the salah with in front of your wife, and it's over your neighbor. The salah valid, valid. Why? Because your aura is covered, right? So yeah, anybody else? So the type of clothing, yes, top. I'm coming to the shoes. I'm only focusing firstly on the type of is the material, the 2 parts that I'm wearing. The 2 parts, the izar and the rida. It don't have to be white. It can be any. It's preferably white because the Prophet ﷺ loved white. It's like a towelish material. But the problem is that the top part, don't tie it. Don't attach it, safety pins. That's the issue that I have because I've seen many people doing it. The bottom part, I can wear a belt, and then to keep it together, that's fine. Okay? Now we're coming to the type of shoes that I'm allowed. So if you're in a state of, fadda. To the ihram, fadda, quickly.
The other part that you're wearing, is there a limit to how big the material
No, it's not a limit. It must just cover your aura, that's all.
So, for example, if the hair is so long that we wear it and looks like pants, as opposed to
Like a what?
like
Pants?
It's like this Indian thing that they wear, but they take like a sari and then they wrap it around the legs and it looks like pants. But it's one piece of cloth.
Well, I can't, I don't know. Just so it's like a piece, like this piece,
Yes,
and wrap it, and that's all.
it's very long and then we wrap it around.
But why would you want to wear very long and it's summer? If it's very long, then cut it in half, make it suitable for yourself. Because the condition is to cover your aura. And you cover your aura, and that's it, khalas. I'm not going to wear long. So, I mean, one of the brothers that he bought, and he forgot his ihram, and he went to buy something without checking, so it was a kiddies one. So it was like so small. So now because of you got it so small, you can wear it, you can't wear it. It must cover your area of your aura. Your aura must be covered from the navel to the knees. Okay, Mashai? So you're not going to take a long one from there to here and I, because I got it, so cut it in half, give sadaqah, lillahi ta'ala. You take a piece, I take a piece, because I've covered my area of my aura, that's it. Okay? Khalas. Understand?
So there's nothing wrong if it is very long and if you wear it such.
If it's very long, how are you going to walk? I can't understand.
Well, there is a way of wrapping it very aerated,
But why would you want to wear a very long one?
like pants.
No, you can't wear it as a pants. Why you can't wear it as a pants. Yeah, it must be like a loose fitted piece of linen and you just wrap it, that's all. It shouldn't be fancy. And just wrap it around you. That's khalas, tawakkal Allah, finish. I don't know why you guys making it so technical. As a piece of linen, wrap it around you, tawakkal Allah, cover your aura, finish. Khalas, Mashay? The next requirement, once I'm in a state of ihram, for males, the Shafi madhab, that the type of shoes that I'm wearing. You're not allowed to wear shoes where the front part is closed and the back part is also closed. So both the front and the back, the heel, the toes must be open. So any form of slippers, I've seen people, many people ask, they have this particular slipper where you wrap around the ankles also. That sandal that you have, right? And you have like a back part that wraps. It's better strapped. Avoid that. It's better to avoid it. So the toes is open and the heel is open according to the Shafi madhab. Okay? One of the brothers also, his daughter bought him very pricey slipper, so he didn't want, so the front was closed. And I insisted, you can't. He said, no, I'm not going to cut. I said, rather cut the front part, open. And he didn't, he insisted, no. So I said, that's your choice, but you have to pay the penalty. I'm not going to stand for that. If you don't want to do it, it's up to you. According to the Hanafi madhab allows, that like the secret sock, karate, so they say it's allowed. According to their madhab, they interpret the hadith different. So they wear that as long as it does not go over your ankles. So if it's like a secret sock below the ankles, even though the toes are covered and the back part are covered, that's fine for them. So if you want to do that, you must make taqleed to the Hanafi madhab and then it will be correct. But you cannot just wear it and you follow the Shafi madhab. Okay? As for the females, can you wear no slippers? Sorry, no socks? So now I'm making tawaf, right? I forgot about that one. So now I'm making tawaf and it's very hot and you want to advertise your toes. Will your tawaf be valid or not valid? Why not? Your toes aura? MashaAllah. So how come you go to the beach with socks? And to go to the beach with socks? So if it's aura and you're going to the beach, are you allowed to expose it? It's aura. So that means you cannot expose your toes because it's aura. Our madhab, feet is aura. Okay? So that means you cannot, whether in the salah or outside the salah, females cannot expose their toes. It is awrah. Khalas, everybody? So our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in hadith that is haram. Rasulullah says you're not allowed to wear a shirt. You're not allowed to wear trousers. You're not allowed to wear turban. You're not allowed to wear a cloak. So that's in terms of the type of sandals that I'm wearing. The front part must be open, and the ankles must also be open. Now coming to the covering of the head. It's haram to cover, to put anything on my head, whether it's part of my head or whether it's my whole head. Whether I'm covering it or with a cap, with a hat, anything that covers my head, I'm putting it on my head, whether it's a face, whether it's for a reason or no reason, you have to pay the penalty. Not the umbrella, keep it away from me, that's fine. But if I'm wearing something, the bag, and it's hot, and I put the bag on my head, violation. That's problematic. Okay? Taking the ihram and it's hot and I put it on my head, khalas, I've covered. When it's part of my head, a whole head, it's a violation. You have to pay a penalty for doing that. Okay? So just be cautious when it comes to the covering. Rasulullah said, "La tukhammiru ra'sa," you're not allowed to cover your head, because the day of Qiyamah, if you should die in that particular manner, you will be resurrected in that manner. You're not allowed, any person dying in the state of ihram, you're not allowed to cover the head. So that's also a violation, to cover the head. Now coming to specifically for females. Females can wear any type of clothing. The only requirement, females, that you're not allowed to cover your face. So once a female is in the state of ihram, you're not allowed to cover the face. If it's females that wear niqab and they insist on wanting to wear, I would say, why you want to wear? Rasulullah said, don't wear. There's a certain place you want to wear. But there you should not wear. Why you want to wear? So however, if now maybe the guy's very jealous, everybody's going to see his wife, and then she can wear a hat, and then put something like a covering, see-through covering, but it's not touching her face. So it's just hanging over, that's fine. But the moment it's touched her face and her face is covered, then it's also a violation, then she has to pay a penalty. Also, females, you're not allowed to wear niqab, you're not allowed even to wear gloves. You can't wear gloves once you're in the state of ihram. Also, sunglasses. Okay, big sunglasses, almost like Bollywood stars, stand like ihram, pose, mashallah. It's not the time to look nice. It's the time, it's ibadah. So if there's no reason for you to wear, if you're wearing glasses because of prescription glasses, you cannot see well, that's fine. But any other glasses to make yourself look nice while in a state of ihram, violation. Problematic, because for female, you're covering your face. Okay?
Same question.
Stay away from it. Why? Because it's not to make yourself nice.
No, Sheikh, but you're using it for the purpose of protecting your eyes.
Yeah, if it's for protecting your eyes for a valid reason, that's different. If you're just wearing it for adornment and beauty, looking quiet and nice, Ray-Bans, that's problematic. Then coming to what is haram to apply on my body. It's haram to apply any form of perfume on my body. I'm not allowed to, whether it's camphor, okay, the OTT's no lafat camphor, regular janaza, bly maar weg van die. Ek kan nie camphor vat nie. If I die moet dat nie, don't put camphor for me, and don't put cheap attar or so, lekker oud, lekker sak. Yeah.
Can you apply perfume before you make it?
Yeah, the Shafi madhab says that you can. All the other madhab, many of the other madhab says you should not, because of once you apply it and it stays in your ihram. So that's like, our madhab says that you can, it must be prior.
Like when you're in Egypt.
So example, you take a bath here, you apply perfume, when you eat, you put the ihram on, you never make your intention yet.
Yeah.
So then it's fine, you can apply it. But the moment you're in your ihram, you made your intention, then applying perfume is problematic. If you're going to apply perfume, being in a state of ihram, you have to pay a penalty. Okay? So applying perfume, to the extent, our madhab even goes to extent, saying that even any form of toothpaste, that fragrant smell, ma'jun al-asnan, stay away from it. You shouldn't apply it. that fragrant soap, whilst in the state of ihram, you're not allowed. Okay? So fragrant soap, fragrant cream, whilst in your state of ihram, you're not allowed. So just be very careful. Alas, everybody with me? So in terms of the perfume, in terms of the fragrant soap, once in the state of ihram, you need people make this mistake. You go to the bathroom and there's soap and there's fragrant, you wash your hands, in the state of ihram, problematic, you have to pay a penalty. Then coming to the oils. So there are certain places, for example, males. Many males complain because doing the sa'i, then it becomes challenging for us because you have no underpants. So now it's scraping, my legs are scraping. So can you apply some form of cream, Nivea, Vaseline, and so on? Is it allowed or not allowed? What do you say?
There's no scent. Should be allowed to shower?
So if you no scent, you can put on your face?
Yes.
Wallah, you're wrong. So when it comes to my head and my face, whether it's scented or not scented, it's haram. You're not allowed. When it comes to my face, the guy cuts his hair and he wants to put oil in the state of ihram, whether it's scented or not scented, it's not allowed. If you're going to do it, you have to pay a penalty. Okay? So maybe the guy shaved his hair and put oil on, it's not allowed. However, there's other places where it's not part of beauty. And that is if the guy walks and his legs, the thighs scrape. So there you can put cream because that's not part of the beauty. But you should not apply scented cream. Okay? So if I want to put cream here, my legs, I can put, but not scented. Okay? When it comes to my face, whether scented or no scented, no cream on my face, no cream on my arms, no cream on my oil, on my hair. No, it's not going to work. Whether it's scented or not scented. 5 minutes left. Inna lillahi wa raji'un. Yes. No, that's a major. You're not allowed to put cream. Why would I put cream on? If you want to put your very dry skin, put on, pay the penalty. Finish. But you're not allowed. You're not allowed. Guys, you must understand, this is an ibadah. And because it's an ibadah, Allah brag and boast how people look. Allah said to the Malaika, see here, my slave from Cape Town, it's so hot, see the hair is all ruffled, the skin is dry. Allah loved the sight because I'm doing this ibadah for the sake of Allah. So, tan a bitchy for the sake of Allah, burn a bitchy for the sake of Allah, no problem. I don't know why you want to make yourself nice. There. So, no cream on my face, no cream on my hair, no oil on my hair, no, not on my arms, no. Whether scented or not scented. We're going to do the penalties. No. Why would I put sunblock on? So it's fine. Burn me, Allah. I'm not going to burn in Jahannam, rather burn no in dunya. And also, Sheikh, where sun? The Umrah, how many minutes does it take? You're not really in the sun. You're not walking in the sun. You're taking a taxi to the miqat, make your intention in a taxi, not in the sun. Then it drops you, walk from there, and in the haram, aircon, there's no sun. Where's sun? I'm told, what sun? That's not sun. Inna lillahi wa raji'un. Burn a bitchy, it's fine. For the sake of Allah, I can burn. No problem. Anything else? So now coming, so we have the perfume, the issue of applying oil on my skin, meaning my hair, my beard, then applying cream on certain parts that's not part of beautification, then I can, but it should not be scented. Next one is removing hair. I'm not allowed to remove any form of hair. I cannot cut it, I cannot shave it, whether it's pubic hair, any form of hair, removing it, it's all violation. I'm not allowed. Also, I cannot cut my nails. Otherwise, you're going to sit with the problem. Even to the extent where our mother said it is dislikable for females to comb your hair also. Because there's a possibility that if you're going to comb it, then it's going to fall out. If it falls out by itself, then there's no violation. But if you're combing your hair and hair falls out, and it's a certain amount of hair, that's problematic, you have to pay a penalty. Okay? Then you're not allowed to kill anything also, and to break certain stuff. Okay, so sometimes the ant or the mosquito bites you, let him bite. Don't kill him, you're going to pay a penalty. You must, the state that you're in, you must be very, very conscious. Then it's haram to be intimate whilst in a state of ihram. Also haram where the female, okay, maybe, don't know, the husband looks so nice in a ihram and now come here, give me a hug, and then there's some form of emotions and feeling, that's also haram. Okay? Then also, this is like, Allah said, فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. And many people are. And the author is saying that how many people invalidate the Umrah because of arguments whilst in a state of ihram. How many people invalidate the Umrah because of the vulgar, they're disrespectful, they utter certain wording, they speak bad about people whilst in a state of ihram. So please be very cautious. Don't speak bad about people in a state of ihram. Don't, even if somebody push you or somebody, just don't say anything. Don't push back. You're not allowed. It's haram. And I've heard it so many times. People saying, no, there's Takaroni guys or the guy, Turkey people, they was rough and they was pushing me and I pushed them back. Astaghfirullah. Why would you do that? Allah said, there's no fighting. There's no, you're not allowed to do it. And many people are doing it. You're supposed to be in the highest level of consciousness. It's almost like you just move. They shove you here, okay, khalas. I move here, fine, you just go with the flow, that's it. So that's also many violations that people speak vulgar, people hurt people, people say certain stuff. That's all stuff that invalidate your Umrah. So alhamdulillah that we can conclude with that and then leave the open for questions. And next, the Sunnah acts of Umrah. And yeah.
Sheikh, what you spoke about now, pushing and whoever went, you experience that. But personal experience, Sheikh, I always try to go with the utmost adab and models when you go. But the Kaaba, whether it's by going to the Kaaba or reading Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and subhanAllah, every time you go with adab, you see Allah will take you in front of the Kaaba without you making effort. Or going to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Is it allowed for females to go in a crowd with all males and say, MashaAllah, touch the Kaaba? Inna lillah. Is it permissible for females to go touch the Kaaba? In a crowd of males? It's haram. Females are not allowed to walk in a crowd of males. You're doing something haram to do something that is not even sunnah to touch the Kaaba. Sunnah to maybe the Hajar Aswad. But not the Kaaba. And people are bragging, oh, take a photo, stand in front of the Kaaba, but you were pushing, and you were shoving, and you were touching other strange men to touch. So you don't have to. If you don't, halas, tawakkal Allah. Allah knows our condition, make Islam, halas, and tawakkal Allah, then you carry on. But you cannot do haram to fulfill something that is sunnah. It's haram to hurt people. It's haram to be connected to a strange woman. So you're going in that crowd where there's a lot of strange men in order to go to the Kaaba. That's haram. It's not allowed. So be careful when it comes. Yeah. Anything else? Oh, yeah. Did I explain the issue of what happened? Many, you know that there's certain restrictions. You're not allowed to be on the ground. Yeah, I think I spoke about that time. The issue of the haram. Yeah. Anything else? Faddali. That's sunnah. So next week we're doing sunnah acts. So I just wanted to be clear what is arkans, what is wajib, and what is sunnah. Arkans you have to do. No way that otherwise the ibadah will be invalid. It's wajib. If I leave it out, I pay a penalty to correct it. However, sunnah, sunnah. If I do it, Allah reward me. If I don't do it, I don't get punished. There's no doubt. Okay? Khalas? The standard type of food, what's considered as a meal.
Is it 60 or 6?
6 people.
6.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, this is a chapter of penalties. I'm sorry, do the chapter of penalties now? We can do it. Yeah, so this is a chapter of a penalty. So it depends the type of penalties. So if there's certain mistakes that the Sharia says that you're allowed, that give you permission, the person goes for Hajj and he enters in a period of Hajj with the Umrah, that Sharia permits him to do it. So there's a penalty. من تمتع بالعمرة إلى الحج فما استيسر من الهدي. So Allah gives you a leeway coming with Umrah in a period of Hajj, then you pay a penalty after, and that's why you pay the dam, slaughtering of the sheep, because of the Sharia have given us this permission. Then there are certain penalties we have left out certain components of the ibadah, then you pay a penalty. And there are certain penalties where I made certain violations, mistakes, and there's different type of penalties. So inshallah, maybe next week I can complete the sunnahs, and then I will do all the penalties because of that everybody knows. But you're not going to make penalties, inshallah. There's no need for penalties, right? Then I will do the penalties. Yes. The what?
Set the face.
Ah.
When you went to Umrah, you can have a bag for you to keep like the wallet and cash and things in. Inside the bag, what if there just happens to be some rupees?
Some what?
Rupees and you get like at the moment, like a bag that sits.
No, yeah, carrying it, there's nothing wrong because you're not applying it. The issue is of applying it. So if I have the perfume and spraying it on me or applying it, that's the issue. But if I buy attar and I have it here and it's not, that's different. Rampis. You got rampis to makan. Ya Allah. Khalas, anything else? Alhamdulillah. So everybody understand the Umrah? Can Auntie tell me the components of a Umrah? The first one is? Okay, verstaan. Getting old now, vergeet terug, né? Taniyat is the intention to enter this ibadah, to perform this nusuk of Umrah. Second one is, yeah, add a conditioner, can Allah put that conditioner. Then a tawaf. The condition of a valid tawaf? Masa wudu. 7 times. Start from where? Hajar Aswad in, by the Hajar Aswad. What else? Awra must be covered. Okay? Then make taqleed to the Hanafi madhab because of you're going to touch somebody's strength. Otherwise you're going to sit with a problem. You don't have to do every time first round. Wudu is nullified, go back. Take up tasbih, come every time in. Then the third one, rukun, the sa'i. And the last one is the cutting of the last one. That's the 4 components of Umrah. Shafi Umrah. Umrah is the Umrah, it doesn't matter. It's only the issue of the, whether I'm on Umrah or whether I'm at home, if I touch my wife or anybody's strange, I don't take wudu. I don't take wudu. It's up to you. I give you the text. This is the reference that the Shafi use, and this is the reference that the Hanafi use. So with many different types of ibadah. In terms of the reference, we recite Fatiha right in the Salah. If we don't recite Fatiha, the Salah is invalid, right? But the Hanafi madhab, they also have a reference, and so based on their reference, you don't have to recite the Fatiha. So what I'm trying to say, the same rule applies. You have to look at the evidence, the hadith of Rasulullah. So the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed salah and his wife touched him, and he never renewed the wudu. So by evidence, my wudu is not nullified. So because of the evidence, I say yes on that. I don't take wudu. I don't renew wudu. Even if it is my wife touched me, I don't. If somebody is strange also, I don't take. Why? Because of evidence that the other madhab use is very strong. But I cannot force you. You decide. The elderly people is very difficult. They stay. So call out my daddy, my mommy. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. That's not right. They use the evidence according to the Shafi madhab, which is correct, and I use the evidence from Rasulullah, which is also correct. So it depends on you. So if you feel comfortable that I can use this particular evidence according to hadith of Rasulullah, whether being in Makkah, whether being at home, your wudu is not nullified. It's all about the evidence. Khalas, Mashayikh? So you don't have to wait to go to Makkah. You can practice here. Yallah. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Dua Allah accept our ibadah, dua that Allah grant us accepted Umrah, and Allah grant us to go on Umrah and to come back better people. Because that's also the purpose of performing Umrah, not to be the same. Sometimes people go for many Umrahs and they come back, they're still the same, still have ugly manners, still disrespectful. That's not the purpose and objective of a Umrah.
Next week we will also touch on Medina, inshallah.
Yeah, so next week I will explain the sunan of the Umrah. I will touch on the various dams that I need if any violation happens, and you know what you need to do. And then you can speak about the fadail, the benefit of Makkah, and the fadail of Medina. Yeah, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.